You're going to have way more days where you do not feel like doing the things that you said you would do when you felt like doing them. In fact, probably about 50% of the time, a good solid 50% of the time, you're not going to feel like doing it. Or the other thing too is 50% of the time, you're going to constantly have problems. Like today, right now, my personal commitment is that I'm going to post 3 times a week on my YouTube channel, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's Friday. The week's piled up. A lot of things have gone sideways. Fires on multiple fronts, unanticipated issues. And the last thing that I want to do is make a fucking video right now. Had 4 or 5 different topics planned that I'm working on, but my brain's not firing on any of them. So what do you do in moments like this, right? Because these kinds of things happen to us all the time, right? All the time. Well, you got to do what you said you would do long after the feeling of how you felt when you said you would do it passes. I was thinking about this as I willed myself to make the video so that I'm congruent with what I said I would do and keep my say-do ratio high. More on that in just a second. But I was thinking about this. People talk about having a balanced life, right? I want a well-balanced life. Well, here's the funny thing. If you actually want a well-balanced life, then that means 50% of your life is going to be problems and troubles, because I'm sure that you want your life to be happy, right? Positive, winning, growing, whatever good looks like for you. But if you were to have a balanced life, that means half the time you're going to be having circumstances, emotions, and feelings that are not what you're looking for. Right? If you have perfect balance. I heard Brooke Castillo once talk about how you should just expect that 50% of the time you're gonna have problems, issues, challenges, things are not gonna go the way you want. And when I thought about that and heard that, what I realized is that that's actually not a depressing thought. That's not a sour thought. That's actually an empowering thought. Because when I look over my life, yeah, about half the time, something's going wrong somewhere, right? Let's say hypothetically, any person's life is generally distributed amongst 12 different buckets. Money, health, fun, whatever, just buckets. At any given time, you've got problems, challenges, or setbacks in about half your buckets. Like even when I'm winning and things are going great on whatever it is that is my current priority, there's often still areas of my life where I'm dealing with challenges, issues, setbacks, diversions, delays, distractions, derailments, right? So when I go in with the expectation that like, hey, about half the time, I'm going to have a problem. Somewhere, somehow. And when it happens, because I expect that there will be some sort of challenges coming up, I find myself being less reactive to those challenges, to those issues, to those types of days, to those types of weeks. And so it actually takes less out of me. It drains me less, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure you can relate, right? Like sometimes you just get so many things loaded up onto like your psyche and life from just different angles that it starts to like take a lot out of you. It starts to drain you. When you go into life, knowing that like, hey, half the time things are just not going to be going exactly the way I want. Well, whether you accept that or not, look over the last 5-10 years of your life, and that's probably going to be true. Since that seems to be the fact, or par for course is a better phrase, a better way to say it. Since that seems to be par for course, Understanding that, accepting that, and almost embracing that is actually empowering moving forward. Does that make sense? Because now it's like, okay, well, this is just always the lay of the land. So if this is always the lay of the land, how do I need to be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared to navigate this? And I'll wrap up with this, a call back to something I just said previously, the say-do ratio, which you may have heard me talk about in other videos. I can't think of any one other singular thing that will work as fast and as effectively at raising one's own self-respect and therefore self-esteem. It'll work, something that'll work as quickly and as powerful as building one's self-confidence and momentum in life. And I can't think of any other one thing that will be as powerful in transforming and transferring not head knowledge, books, podcasts, courses, gurus, videos, etc., into actual personal real growth. Not just like reading a book, new words, new phrases, but same old, same old. Actual real growth and transformation. No other one thing that I can think of will do all those three things that I just said as effectively, as quickly as the say-do ratio, meaning doing what you say you're going to do. Most people are absolutely bankrupt on their say-do ratio. I think that was probably me most of my life. And what I mean by bankrupt, the way I think of it is, if your say-do ratio is because whatever you say, that's the 100% top line, and then whatever percentage of doing that matches how much you say, what's the gap? And if you're below 50%, you're struggling, and if you're below 35, 33%, you're bankrupt. The closer or the smaller the gap is between what you say you're going to do and commitments to others and to yourself, and then what you actually do, the smaller the gap, the more challenges you're going to go through. You want to close that gap, you're going to go through a lot of challenges, because it's going to force you to look at a lot of different things, face yourself, and grow. You're also going to realize how much you talk, and you're going to start talking a whole lot less in terms of, claiming what you're going to do, and et cetera, and the promises that you make. So this is just me doing my best to keep my say-do ratio very high by making this video and just sharing that today is not the best of days for me. But it's a great life, and I'm grateful for every moment of it. And I know that making this video and posting it is going to secure a high say-do ratio. It will continue to build my self-esteem, my self-respect, and my self-confidence. And maybe in 6 months, a year, 2 years, this video will randomly pop up somehow for me, and I'll be able to look at it and chuckle and laugh, and hopefully celebrate a lot of the progress that I've made from this day forward, because I did a good job of keeping my say-do ratio high. At the end of the day, if you do that as a person, that goes a long ways towards giving you a peaceful night's sleep, because then you can respect the person you see in the mirror the next day.